What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Ultravox, and we're returning to the 1984 album Lament. Thank you again to Phil. And the next track in the playlist is actually the third tune in the batch I'm recording right now relating to tears, which I find very interesting and nicely symmetrical. In any case, the track is Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, which isn't overtly contradictory, but it certainly feels mixed in terms of the emotional sentiment. Now, as I said in one or maybe both of those previous tear-related song reactions, tears can happen for different reasons, meaning even if I would suspect the majority of references to tears in art and music and storytelling are tears that come from melancholy or feeling sad or being heartbroken, you can of course cry tears of joy. You can cry when you are overwhelmed or in awe of some transcendent experience or situation. But again, I think the lion's share of tears in pop songs relate to tears of being sad. And of course, there are songs, including those I've recently reacted to. There was a track by Soft Cell I reacted to not all that long ago, where the idea of dancing even as you feel upset or worried or bothered by external conditions and the world at large, even if that is in some ways at odds with each other, meaning if you're upset and you're therefore crying, you don't typically feel like dancing, but that impulse to try to find some joy or to find a community or an environment in which you can have catharsis or you can find a way to enjoy life and others despite all that's going on, I suppose it is actually a relatively common approach to, again, substituting a bad feeling for a good one, or at least balancing them. So, yeah, I don't quite know what to expect here, but I suppose I will hypothesize that it's about dancing as a way to find some release or to dull the pain that is leading you to cry in a melancholy way. So we'll see what I can pick up on a first listen. This is Ultravox. The tune is Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, and it's from their 1984 album Lament. I like that one a lot. That's an instant favorite. It's interesting. When it first started, I was thinking, it reminds me a bit of early Flock of Seagulls. But the more it played out, and certainly by halfway through to the end, I felt like it actually sounded like 80s Alphaville, including in the vocals. It almost sounded a bit like when Marion Gold gets really expressive with his vocals. But yeah, it sounded like a great 80s Alphaville track. Either way, I enjoy the sonics. They have that classic 80s, like epic synth pop sound, that electric synth bass line, but also these big melodic sweeps and, keyboard flourishes. And lyrically, I think it's similar to what I was thinking, but sort of flipped. Like, I was thinking about finding a place of solace by engaging in something fun even when you're feeling sad. But it sounds like it's kind of the other way around. It's like feeling sad because you know things are over, even as you do things which have been enjoyable and which are enjoyable in the moment. So it's sort of like doing something fun, but feeling like it's not fun in the way it should be, or it's not fun in a way that's going to last. And narratively, it sounds like it's a relationship, a love that has fallen apart and is going to be no more, and is thus a life that could have been or was, but is now gone by. But it's also seemingly like a specific moment at the end of that where they're actually still together. It's like he's talking about driving over there for the last time. So maybe it's like, hey, like, you want to come pick up your stuff, and they're gonna separate more fully, and maybe one of them is moving away or something. And so then he gets there, and it's like, getting late at night, and they're drinking and sort of trying to maybe dull the pain and, share one last good night together. And then it's like they're in each other's arms, and I think making love to one of their songs, a song that, meant something to them. But it's like they're going through what would normally be just a night of intimacy and emotion together, but with this sense that it is the final time, that, once the sun comes up the next day, once he leaves from her place or wherever they are, that's it. The life will really be over. The love will really be gone. So it's like it's the end of their story together, but it's we're hearing about this during a chapter, or the epilogue, I guess not the epilogue, the final regular chapter of their journey together, and they're actually like sympathetic toward each other, but seemingly in the larger situation of knowing that this is over, that after tonight, after this final connection, there's no more. So there's like nuance to the narrative and the emotional setting of the tune. I love the vocals, again, big, rich, and expressive. I enjoy the flourish of the chorus. I like the guitar work. So again, it was like an electronic synth pop type of sound in that classic 80s way, but there was some guitar that had some real, epic drama to it. So I enjoyed the blending of electronic sounds with more, let's say, natural instrument sounds. And yeah, just a really cool tune. Instant favorite. Let me know what you think of this one. And Luca, who's now back asleep again, and I will see you next time. Peace.